Absolutely instantaneously, you wind up the welding torch at the back of the engine. And that typically will allow the turbines and the hot section of the engine at the back end to quite often suffer permanent, unrecoverable damage. And that's what we found all the way through the flight test program. We had to live with that, and so we made structural changes to take care of the engine bending, and we were making control system changes constantly to try to get the engines to operate so that they stay burning. Now, I flew on several, although number 2 prototype airplane was our propulsion airplane. We flew quite a few flights to begin with on RA001, that's the one across the road, the number 1 airplane. And I think when I looked through my logbook, we had pretty well every flight during that time period. We took off on 4 and came back on less. And luckily we were light most of the time, but sometimes those water barrels were full. We had to make some provisions, not only structurally, but also for controlling the engine, which would maintain the airplane being safe and ultimately certifiable, so that the airlines could take it into service and not have real unacceptable problems. They were unacceptable certainly from an economic standpoint. The one thing we couldn't stand was an unacceptable safety issue. One of the things that we put in place in order to try to make that engine less sensitive was known as a throttle bar. And this is the yard stand or the throttle quadrant on a 747. And those throttles are back at idle right now. But if you can imagine them going forwards to the kind of far end thrust level that you needed for getting to high altitude, when we were above 25,000 feet, the flight crew slid a plate in behind those